We are with State Representative Lillian Ortiz-Self from the 21st District. I'm going to ask you about two things. The first is a telephone town hall and in-person town hall. You had both of them recently. How'd they go?
Oh, it was wonderful. It's always wonderful to meet with constituents, of course. You get to hear their dreams, their experiences, their concerns, their needs. We need that to govern. And so hearing their stories always recharges me to keep fighting for the 21st and the state of Washington. We had probably over 200 people there, so it was wonderful to see the community come out at large.
And the second thing I want to ask you about is House Bill 1296. This is the Parental Rights Bill. It was a long debate on the floor, but there are so many myths around this that I want to ask you about, like the top three. So, first, if a child experiences some sort of abuse, do parents get notified?
Absolutely, they get notified. There is a law currently that's the Department of Children and Family Services and law enforcement have up to 48 hours to notify parents. The reason that law is in place is in case they need that for investigative purposes, and they will notify us as school personnel if we are not to notify parents. That rarely happens, and it happens in the cases where, quite honestly, the perpetrator's in the home. It's usually a family member or a parental guardian, and we are not to notify them. That is the only reason that law even has up to 48 hours. And we even amended it to say, okay, we'll let law enforcement and CPS deal with that. We didn't want our teachers and our counselors to be stuck in the middle between taking an order from a law enforcement officer and impeding investigation. But in 99.9% of the situations, parents are notified immediately currently without this bill.
The second myth that is going around is that school counselors can prescribe drugs.
Yes, we heard that on the floor. Absolutely not. It is not within my scope of practice. I am a school counselor and I am a mental health counselor, and I have no authority to write a prescription for any child or to give medication to any child. That is not within my scope of practice. But if I was to write one, no pharmacy would fill it because I am not on a registry. I am not registered as anyone who could write a prescription for a child.
And then the third thing I want to ask you about, apparently there seems to be this notion that students as young as 9 can sign something to get out of school.
Yes, we heard that on the floor too. My challenge to any parent is, if you have a 9-year-old, try to see if they can get themselves out of school and let me know if that is successful. I don't know of any elementary school children, as a matter of fact, any child that can do that, except when we have kids under McKinney-Vento that are homeless. They're usually 17 years old, where CPS has not taken custody of them. They are allowed under the federal law to excuse their absences. Everyone else must have a family or guardian excuse their absences. That is the law of the state of Washington, and it always has been.
So lastly, about this bill, one of the things that you are always interested in is in having parents of all walks of life and all ethnic cultures participate in their child's school activities.
Absolutely. As a mental health counselor and as a school counselor, I know the value of having parents have a voice in school and being involved in their child's education. Whenever parents and teachers have partnered together, the success is much higher for that child. If you get involved and speak to your teachers and partner with your teachers, your child's going to benefit. So I have been a long time, 30-year proponent of making sure parents have access in our schools. And I'm very excited that this bill has translation services to include even more parents in that process, because that's something I've been advocating for the 12 years I've been here. So we must make sure that every parent can have a voice in this process. This bill gets us a little closer.